time to die.
A Way Out is an action-adventure co-op game where you and a friend take on the roles of two prisoners planning their escape, and the only way to succeed is by working together. The game is packed with cool moments, from sneaky stealth sections to intense car chases, and the way the story unfolds with split-screen gameplay makes everything feel cinematic.
Come on, scumbag!
Come on! Where are you going?
Some of the animations are a little rough, and the dialogue isn't always great, but the overall experience of playing through this with a friend is so much fun that it's easy to ignore any small flaws. If you love co-op games, this one is absolutely worth playing.
Name a number, please.
Vincent Moretti, 3465.
Vincent. Nope, there's no Vincent here, sorry.
We have a great show for you here tonight. Alan Wake, one of my all-time favorite writers, and guests on the show.
Alan Wake 2 is a long-awaited follow-up that's worth the wait, especially if you're a fan of Remedy's past games like Control and Max Payne. It's a blend of single-player adventure, survival horror, and cinematic storytelling. Players control two characters, Saga Anderson, an FBI agent investigating eerie murders in a small town, and Alan Wake, trapped in a nightmarish version of New York. The game is challenging with limited resources, tense combat, and smart AI that keeps you on edge. Environments are beautifully designed, mixing creepy woods with atmospheric towns and surreal nightmare worlds. The flashlight mechanic adds tension, and the detective work in Saga's story is immersive. While newcomers may need some context, Alan Wake 2 excels with its thrilling gameplay, stunning visuals, and gripping narrative, making it possibly Remedy's best game yet. Animal Well is one of those games where you start off completely lost, but then as you keep exploring, everything starts making sense. And that feeling is just so satisfying. It's a puzzle platformer that drops you into this quiet but mysterious world filled with strange creatures and hidden secrets everywhere. The game doesn't explain much, so you have to experiment and figure things out, which makes every discovery feel super rewarding. The only downside is that it can be a little too cryptic at times, so if you don't like getting stuck, you might find it frustrating. But if you enjoy a game that respects your curiosity, this is an amazing experience. Astrobot is a 3D platformer that feels like a love letter to classic games, with tight controls, beautiful environments, and some really fun mechanics. Every level introduces something new, whether it's a cool power-up or a clever platforming challenge. The way the game uses haptic feedback makes it feel super interactive, and honestly, it's one of the best platforming experiences on PlayStation. The only downside is that it's not the longest game out there, but every moment of it is packed with fun. If you love games that are just pure joy to play, this one is for you. Baldur's Gate 3 is a landmark in RPG gaming, blending incredible storytelling, tactical combat, and unmatched freedom of choice. Set in the vibrant Forgotten Realms, Larian Studios delivers a world rich in detail with unforgettable, deeply written characters and voice acting that brings them to life. The game offers unparalleled freedom. Your choices matter, from skipping battles with clever tricks to shaping your character from 29 sub-races and 12 diverse classes. Co-op multiplayer adds to the fun, letting friends tackle missions in inventive ways. Exploration feels rewarding at every turn. Whether discovering new lore, hidden loot, or impactful side quest, Baldur's Gate 3 constantly surprises. Its three-act story spans lush wilderness, eerie landscapes, and a bustling city, each brimming with handcrafted, memorable experiences. Though Act 3 has some bugs, they pale next to the brilliance of the game. With its stellar narrative-layered characters and polished presentation, Baldur's Gate 3 sets a new standard for CRPGs. A masterwork that's a must-play for any RPG fan. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden is an action-adventure game that follows two ghost hunters who fight spirits while dealing with a tragic love story, and it creates a really emotional and immersive experience. The narrative is deep and gripping, with tough choices that actually impact the story, making you feel invested in the characters. The combat is fast-paced and fun, but it can get a bit repetitive after a while. The atmosphere and visuals are stunning, really bringing the eerie world to life. If you like story-driven games with emotional twists, it's definitely worth checking out.
The only thing sources agree on is his name. The Arkham Knight.
There's a crew of 8.
Batman Arkham Knight builds on its predecessors with a larger, more detailed Gotham City, new Batmobile gameplay, and a deeper exploration of Batman's psyche. The story highlights Batman's history with his allies and villains, though it occasionally delves too much into the supernatural. The addition of the Batmobile, which can turn into a tank, adds variety to the gameplay, although tank combat doesn't always fit Batman's style. The improved brawling and predator mechanics, along with team-up takedowns, keep combat fresh. Side quests featuring classic villains like Two-Face and Penguin offer plenty of variety, making for an epic conclusion to the Arkham series. Despite some flaws, Arkham Knight is an outstanding game that stands out in both size and gameplay depth.
Mark this. He's not just any monkey. He's a monkey of merit.
Black Myth Wukong is an action RPG that dives deep into Chinese mythology, letting you play as the Monkey King with crazy, shape-shifting abilities and powerful magic. The combat is intense and feels really satisfying, especially when you master the dodges and counters. I was really impressed by how smooth the animations are, making every move feel impactful. Visually, the game looks stunning with its detailed environments and fluid animations, which make every fight feel epic. But some of the enemy encounters can feel a bit repetitive after a while. Still, the storytelling and unique setting keep you hooked. If you love challenging action RPGs, this one is definitely worth checking out. Black Ops 6 is a first-person shooter that delivers the intense action and fast-paced gunfights the series is famous for. The campaign is packed with explosive moments, and the multiplayer has plenty of customization options that keep things interesting. I really enjoyed the smooth controls and the exciting combat, but the story in the campaign didn't feel very fresh, and some of the missions were a bit too predictable. The multiplayer is fun, but it doesn't add much that we haven't seen before. Still, if you're a fan of Call of Duty, you'll find a lot to like here. It's just one of those games that's perfect for playing with friends. Celeste is a challenging but rewarding platformer where you play as Madeline, a girl who climbs a mountain, and this game is known for its tough difficulty, but it's also super fair, and the controls feel really tight and responsive, so you always feel like it's your fault when you mess up. Which, believe me, you will a lot, and the levels are designed with tons of hidden secrets and shortcuts that make you want to replay them over and over again to find everything. Plus, the story in Celeste is surprisingly deep and emotional, dealing with things like anxiety and self-doubt in a way that feels really genuine and relatable, and the music is absolutely amazing. It's like this beautiful mix of piano and electronic stuff that perfectly fits the mood of the game, but I gotta say some of those later levels are brutally hard, like seriously controller throwing frustrating. And while the story is great, it's told through these optional cutscenes that you can easily miss if you're not looking for them. So overall, Celeste is an awesome game with tight controls, a beautiful art style, and an amazing soundtrack that's definitely worth checking out even if you're not usually into hard platformers. Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course, is a real treat for fans of the original game because it takes everything that was awesome about it and turns it up to 11. Like, the animation is even more incredible with that classic cartoon style, and the music is just as catchy and fun to listen to. Plus, it adds a bunch of new levels and bosses that are some of the most creative and challenging ones yet. So get ready for some serious controller throwing moments. But the best part is, you get to play as Miss Chalice, this brand new character with her own cool moves and abilities that make the game feel fresh and exciting, like a double jump and a dash move that lets you avoid attacks. But be warned, some of these bosses are seriously tough and might make you want to pull your hair out, but if you love the original Cuphead, you absolutely have to check out the delicious last course. When Cyberpunk launched in December 2020, it was a technical disaster, plagued by bugs, crashes, and glitches, leading to Sony removing it from the PlayStation Store. By 2022, the game was patched, but its design and gameplay issues still lingered, leaving me skeptical about its potential. Although the 2.0 update has turned it into a much improved game, Night City is now bursting with life, thanks to denser crowds, enhanced NPC AI, and a more interactive environment that makes it feel like a true futuristic megacity. The revamped police system adds excitement with dynamic chases and a real sense of threat. RPG mechanics have been completely overhauled, offering a more rewarding progression system that allows for diverse character builds. Combat and stealth are now a lot more fun, with smoother, more engaging gameplay. Overall, the game now delivers a far more polished and enjoyable experience.
Goddamn terrorist!
Days Gone is a unique and thrilling zombie survival game that you should definitely check out. Its standout feature? The Freaker Hordes, or zombies, as most of us call them. Unlike typical games, these hordes don't just mindlessly charge at you, they surround and overwhelm you like a living, breathing wave of terror. If you've ever dreamed of facing zombies like in World War Z, this game delivers big time. Fighting them is intense, strategic, and terrifying, especially when you're low on stamina or far from your bike. Beyond the hordes, Days Gone nails the survival element. You're constantly scavenging for supplies, managing your bike's fuel, and staying alert to ambushes and wild animals. The world feels alive and deadly. While the story isn't the strongest aspect, the gameplay more than makes up for it. Plus, the Freaker's biology is uniquely fascinating, rivaling even The Last of Us in creativity. With weapons customization, bike upgrades, and post-story challenge modes, there's plenty to keep you hooked. If you love a gritty, survival-focused zombie game with depth and intensity, Days Gone is absolutely worth your time. Dead Island 2 is a hilarious, gore-filled sequel that doesn't take itself seriously, and that's part of its charm. Set in a stunningly detailed and absurd version of LA, the game boasts ridiculously good graphics that make its blood-soaked melee combat and apocalyptic setting pop. You'll hack, slash, and drop-kick your way through zombie hordes as one of 6 playable characters. The story feels like a cheesy B-movie with sarcastic writing, colorful characters, and over-the-top quests, like slaying zombies for a clout-chasing influencer or fighting bee-infested undead. While combat starts strong with modded melee weapons and superhuman abilities, its repetitive nature and lackluster guns fall short. Multiplayer adds much-needed fun, though technical bugs and an unpolished feel detract from the experience. Dead Island 2 may not reinvent the zombie genre, but its humor, irreverent tone, gorgeous visuals, and co-op chaos make it worth a bloody good time. Death Stranding is a really unique game, and I gotta say it was quite the experience. Some people might call it a walking simulator, and yeah, you do spend a lot of time trekking across this crazy landscape, but it's not just about that. You're like this delivery guy in a post-apocalyptic world where everything is super weird and you have to connect these isolated cities. It's kind of slow-paced, but it's also really beautiful and atmospheric with some crazy creatures and this really cool story about connections and stuff. The gameplay can be a bit repetitive, I guess, like you're always balancing your cargo and trying not to fall over, which can get a little old. But honestly, I kind of found it relaxing in a weird way, and the story kept me hooked. Plus, the online thing, where you can see other players' structures and stuff, is really cool. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, but if you're looking for something different and you don't mind a bit of a slower pace, Death Stranding might surprise you. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is a one-of-a-kind detective RPG where you play as a cop with amnesia trying to solve a murder in a really weird and interesting city. And the cool thing is, you get to create your own type of detective with different skills and personality, so you can be a super smart detective or a total goofball. What really makes this game special is the amazing writing. It's super funny and makes you think about all sorts of things, and the world is full of interesting characters and hidden secrets that you'll want to uncover. Plus, the voice acting in the Final Cut version really brings the characters to life. Now, just a heads up, there's a lot of reading in this game, and it can be a bit slow at times. So, if you're not into that kind of thing, it might not be for you, but if you're looking for a truly unique and unforgettable RPG experience, Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is definitely worth checking out. Dishonored 2 is a stealth action game where you get to play as either Emily or Corvo, who have really cool supernatural powers that let you sneak around and take down your enemies in tons of different ways, like you can teleport around the map, possess people, or even summon swarms of rats to do your dirty work. And the levels are these awesome, intricate environments that give you a lot of freedom to explore and experiment with your powers. The story is full of twists and turns, and the world is super immersive with a unique art style that makes it feel like a painting come to life. Plus, you can choose to play the game like a ghost, leaving no trace, or go in guns blazing and cause total chaos, which adds a lot of replay value because you can try different approaches each time. Now, the AI can be a bit wonky at times, and sometimes it feels like you get spotted when you shouldn't, and the story, while interesting, isn't quite as gripping as the first game. But overall, Dishonored 2 is a fantastic stealth action game with awesome powers, a cool world, and plenty of choices that make it a blast to play. Dragon's Dogma 2 is an amazing action RPG that throws you into a huge open world filled with mythical creatures and dangerous quests where you can climb on monsters and really feel the impact of your attacks. You can create your own character and recruit companions called pawns to help you in battle, which adds a really cool layer of strategy to the gameplay. The combat is fast-paced and exciting with tons of different skills and abilities to learn and master. Plus, the world is just stunning with beautiful environments and a day-night cycle that makes it feel truly alive. While some of the quests can be a bit repetitive and the story can be a little confusing at times, Dragon's Dogma 2 is still an incredible adventure that any fan of action RPGs should definitely check out. Elden Ring is a massive, challenging open-world RPG that combines difficulty with an expansive world that encourages exploration. Players take on the role of a Tarnished, journeying through a land filled with conflict, mysterious characters, and tough boss battles. The game offers deep customization, allowing players to build their character with a variety of classes and abilities. Combat is deliberate with new features like a jump button and guard counterattacks. The open world, accessible through a mount called Torrent, offers tons of secrets to discover. Although it can be difficult and at times frustrating, the game rewards curiosity and offers freedom to explore at your own pace. The visuals are stunning, though some minor performance issues exist, especially on PC. Overall, Elden Ring feels like a game-changing evolution in the RPG genre, offering something for both newcomers and veterans alike.
And they will die in an unending curse.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth continues the epic adventure with stunning graphics and even more exciting twists and turns. The combat is a blast, mixing action and strategy to make each battle feel truly epic. Explore a massive world filled with bustling cities and dangerous dungeons while experiencing an emotional story that will stay with you long after the credits roll. It's awesome to see what happens to Cloud and his friends after they leave Midgar. While the game can feel a bit linear and some story choices might divide fans, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is still an unforgettable experience. This thrilling adventure with amazing visuals and a captivating story is a must-play for any RPG fan. Forza Horizon 5 is a ridiculously fun racing game that lets you drive hundreds of amazing cars through a beautiful recreation of Mexico. You can race against other players online or explore the huge open world at your own pace, discovering hidden areas and completing cool challenges. The graphics are incredible, and the cars look and sound so real, you can practically smell the burning rubber. There are tons of different races and events to keep you busy, like street races, off-road rallies, and even crazy stunt challenges. You can customize your cars with different paint jobs and upgrades, and you can even buy and sell cars with other players in the game's auction house. While the game can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming with so much to do, and the always online requirement can be a bit annoying, Forza Horizon 5 is still one of the best racing games ever made. It's a must-have for any car enthusiast or fan of open-world games.
Where to go, Control?
Gears 5 is an action-packed third-person shooter that throws you right into the heart of an intense war against the Swarm. You'll experience thrilling battles with awesome weapons and brutal executions. Plus, the campaign features stunning visuals and a gripping story that delves deeper into Kate Diaz's past.
Only one left!
The multiplayer is just as exciting with a variety of modes to choose from, including the classic Horde mode where you team up with friends to fight off waves of enemies. Escape mode offers a unique challenge where you have to work together to infiltrate a swarm hive and plant a bomb. While the campaign can be a bit short and some of the new gameplay mechanics might not appeal to everyone, Gears 5 is still a fantastic addition to the franchise. With its intense action, stunning graphics, and addictive multiplayer, it's a must-play for fans of the series and newcomers alike.
The hell? Trying to search a place that's falling apart.
Ghost of Tsushima is a visually stunning open-world action game set in feudal Japan where you play as Jin Sakai, a samurai caught between tradition and the need to fight Mongol invaders. The game features an exceptional blade combat system, blending elements from Batman Arkham, Assassin's Creed, and classic samurai films. Combat is fast, tactical, and rewarding, with a focus on improving skills rather than grinding for stats. While stealth mechanics are basic and enemy AI can be lacking, the game shines in other areas, especially with its intense cinematic combat sequences. The open world is breathtaking with subtle guidance to exploration and memorable side quests that range from simple tasks to deep character stories. Mythic tales are particularly epic, offering some of the best moments in the game. The photo mode stands out as one of the best, letting you capture the beauty of the world with creative touches like animated environments and particle effects. While Ghost of Tsushima does have some polish issues, especially with stealth, its engaging combat-rich narrative and beautiful world make it an extraordinary samurai adventure. With its emotional storytelling and innovative gameplay systems, it's a must-play for action fans. Half-Life Alyx is a groundbreaking VR game that completely immerses you in the world of City 17. You play as Alex Vance and use your hands to interact with the environment, solve puzzles, and fight off terrifying enemies like headcrabs and combine soldiers. The graphics are amazing and the world feels so real you'll forget you're in a game. The gameplay is super innovative with realistic physics that let you throw objects, manipulate tools, and even rummage through shelves for supplies. The combat is intense and satisfying, whether you're using your trusty gravity gloves to catch grenades or blasting away enemies with a shotgun. Half-Life Alyx is an absolute must-play for any fan of the series or anyone looking for a truly immersive VR experience.
Get some! Get some!
Helldivers 2 is a tactical co-op shooter where you and your squad take on dangerous missions against alien enemies in unpredictable environments. The game does a great job of blending fast-paced combat with strategic gameplay, And I loved how every mission felt different depending on how well you work together. While the friendly fire mechanic adds a nice challenge, the difficulty can feel a bit much sometimes, and the missions don't always offer enough variety. However, if you enjoy games that test your teamwork and coordination, this one's definitely worth a try. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm-based action game where you fight enemies to the beat of the music, mixing fast-paced combat with a colorful, cartoon-style world. I really loved how the gameplay feels so smooth when you sync your attacks with the beat, and the music makes every fight more exciting. The art style is vibrant and fun, and the characters are pretty charming too. However, sometimes the timing felt a bit off, which could get frustrating during tougher battles. But overall, the mix of music and action is just so fun and unique. If you enjoy rhythm games or just want something different, it's definitely worth checking out.
Getting the smackdown!
The place is coming down!
Okay!
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a big adventure game where you play as Indiana Jones, exploring cool places and finding ancient secrets. It's like being in your own indie movie. You get to use his whip, solve puzzles, and fight bad guys, which is really fun. The whip mechanics are surprisingly versatile, letting you swing, grapple, and even disarm enemies in creative ways. Sometimes, though, the puzzles can be a bit tricky, and some parts of the game feel a bit slow. But honestly, the feeling of exploring ancient ruins and finding hidden treasures is really exciting. Plus, the way the game captures the feel of the movies is really well done. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is a turn-based RPG that tells an emotional story filled with humor, and it does an amazing job of balancing serious moments with laugh-out-loud comedy. The story is really engaging, and the characters are so charming and relatable that you get invested in their journey. The combat system is strategic and fun, although the pacing can slow down a bit in longer battles. But there's so much to do with all the side quests and minigames that the world feels really alive and exciting to explore. It's definitely a must-play if you're into story-rich RPGs. Super Mario Odyssey is a joyful reimagining of the platforming genre Mario helped define. With its creative new mechanics and nostalgic nods to the past, it delivers an unforgettable adventure. The standout feature is Cappy, Mario's sentient hat, which lets you possess characters and objects, adding endless variety to gameplay. From controlling a giant T-Rex to stacking Goombas, the surprises never stop. The game blends 3D exploration with classic 2D segments, creating a unique mix of retro and modern styles. Each world is a creative playground, and New Donk City stands out with its semi-realistic design, fun minigames, and a celebratory finale. Even after completing the story, there's plenty to do, from collecting hundreds of power moons to unlocking new areas and surprises. While the game isn't very difficult, its charm, creativity, and innovative gameplay make Odyssey a masterpiece and a must-play for Mario fans and newcomers alike. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a beautiful and emotional game with amazing graphics and music that will make you feel like you're in a dream. You play as Ori, a cute little spirit creature who has to save the forest from a dark evil, and along the way you'll meet interesting characters and explore a huge world filled with secrets and challenges. The controls are tight and responsive, and the platforming is super satisfying with lots of cool abilities to unlock that. Let you do amazing things like double jump and dash through the air. The story is really well told and will pull at your heartstrings, and the gameplay is challenging but fair. Although some of the escape sequences can be a bit frustrating at times. Overall, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a must-play for fans of platforming games or anyone who wants an unforgettable adventure that is both heartwarming and exciting. So if you're looking for a game that will stay with you long after you finish it, This is definitely one to check out. If you love games that make you laugh, panic, and maybe even question your friendships, Overcooked All You Can Eat is perfect. It's a game where you and your team have to cook and serve meals as fast as possible, but the kitchens are designed to mess with you. Sometimes you're cooking on 2 moving trucks, sometimes the floor disappears, and sometimes you just have no idea what's going on because everything is on fire. It's fast, silly, and surprisingly challenging because you have to communicate well, or everything falls apart. It's the kind of game that gets stressful, but in the best way. And even when we completely failed, we just kept playing for one more round. Pentiment throws you into 16th century Bavaria as Andreas Mahler, an artist who finds himself caught up in a murder mystery. You'll explore a beautifully illustrated world, talk to interesting characters, and try to uncover the truth behind a series of suspicious deaths. The game's unique art style, inspired by medieval manuscripts and woodcuts, adds to the immersive experience, and the story is full of twists and turns. Pentiment lets you shape your own story through your choices and interactions. You decide who to trust, what questions to ask, and ultimately who you think is responsible. But be warned, your decisions have real consequences that can affect the lives of everyone in the village. Although Pentiment is a slow-paced game focused on dialogue and investigation, it's still a really engaging experience. If you enjoy historical mysteries or narrative-driven games and are looking for something different, Pentiment is worth checking out.
So good to see you again. You lost consciousness after awakening to your power.
Persona 3 Reload is a remake of the classic JRPG that mixes dungeon crawling with social simulation, where you fight shadows at night and build friendships by day. The graphics look fantastic, and the combat feels much more polished with smoother mechanics and updated visuals. I loved how they stayed true to the emotional story and complex characters that made the original so memorable. But I did miss some of the extra content from previous versions, which was a little disappointing. Still, the mix of strategic combat and storytelling is so good that it's hard to put down. It's definitely worth playing if you love story-driven RPGs.
Oh no! Quick!
A Plague Tale Requiem is a thrilling follow-up to its predecessor, elevating everything that made the first game special. Set in the 14th century France during the 100 Years' War, you control Amicia, who must protect her brother Hugo from a world full of danger, including massive rat swarms. The game intensifies the grim and emotional tone of the first, with heightened stealth mechanics and a deeply depressing story. While the gameplay remains familiar, new elements like NPC allies with unique abilities bring fresh strategies to stealth sections. The rats, now a terrifying force of nature, create unforgettable, heart-pounding moments. Although the puzzles and stealth sections don't always challenge, the combination of rats, soldiers, and puzzle solving offers some of the most engaging moments. The game's stunning visuals, memorable characters, and immersive world make it a must-play, despite not being as ambitious as it could have been in its gameplay evolution. Overall, A Plague Tale Requiem is a gripping, emotional journey worth experiencing.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a side-scrolling action platformer that brings back the classic feel of the old games but with a fresh, modern look. It mixes fast-paced combat with clever puzzles and platforming challenges, making each level feel really exciting. I was really impressed by how smooth the movement feels, especially when chaining jumps and wall runs together. The boss fights are fun and require some strategy, but some of them felt a bit too easy. The art style is beautiful, with vibrant colors that make the world feel alive. Even though some of the puzzles were a little repetitive, the combat and platforming kept me hooked.
This may be a one-way ride. So be prepared, Leon.
Resident Evil 2 Remake is a terrifying and exhilarating reimagining of a classic. The updated graphics and gameplay make it feel like a whole new game while still staying true to the original. You play as either Leon Kennedy or Claire Redfield, each with their own unique story and encounters with iconic characters like Ada Wong and Sherry Birkin. The environments are incredibly detailed and atmospheric, drawing you into the survival horror experience. Get ready for some intense encounters with terrifying enemies like the Licker and Mr. X, who will stalk you relentlessly throughout the game. Resource management and puzzle solving are key elements, forcing you to think carefully about every bullet and every step you take. The tension is palpable as you explore the dark corridors and solve puzzles while trying to avoid becoming zombie chow. Whether you're a veteran of Raccoon City or a newcomer, prepare to be scared and thrilled by this masterpiece of survival horror. Resident Evil 2 Remake sets a new standard for the genre and is a must-play for any fan of horror games. I played Rise of the Ronin recently, and honestly, it felt like stepping into a wild samurai movie, where you get to decide everything. This is an open-world action game where you're a Ronin, a masterless samurai, and you're caught right in the middle of a big fight in Japan. The fighting is really cool. Like, you can switch between different sword styles and it feels super smooth, but sometimes the story felt a bit all over the place, like it was trying to do too much. Exploring the world is fun, there's lots to see, but some of the side quests were a bit repetitive. You know, just go here, hit this, come back. Still swinging your sword and feeling like a badass Ronin, that's where this game really shines. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin is a unique blend of action platforming and rice farming simulation that will surprise you with its depth and charm. You play as Sakuna, a spoiled harvest goddess banished to a dangerous island with a group of human outcasts. To survive and return home, you'll need to master the art of combat using your divine raiment to grapple and attack enemies, while also learning to cultivate rice. The game features a surprisingly deep and satisfying farming system where you'll plant, harvest, and refine your rice crops to improve your stats and abilities. The combat is fast-paced and acrobatic, with a variety of weapons and skills to master as you explore the beautiful hand-drawn environments and uncover the secrets of the island. This is a truly special game that offers a unique and rewarding experience.
What's the matter, Stray? Nothing left to lose?
Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is a challenging but rewarding action-adventure game from the creators of Dark Souls and Bloodborne. You play as a shinobi called Wolf, who is on a quest for revenge in a beautiful and mythical version of ancient Japan. Get ready for intense sword fights where you need to be fast and precise to deflect attacks and find the perfect moment to strike. The game has a unique grappling hook that lets you zip around the world and explore its secrets. You'll need to learn new skills and find powerful tools to defeat tough enemies and bosses. Sekiro is a tough game, but it's also fair, and overcoming its challenges is incredibly satisfying. If you like action games and aren't afraid of a little difficulty, then this game is a must-play. Silent Hill 2 Remake is a survival horror game that beautifully brings back the eerie world of Silent Hill with modern graphics and sound design. It captures the creepy atmosphere perfectly, making every corner feel unsettling. I really enjoyed exploring the detailed environments and solving the challenging puzzles. The emotional story still hits hard, and the improved voice acting adds to the experience. The combat is a bit clunky, but it didn't bother me too much because the focus is more on exploration and story. If you love psychological horror, this remake is definitely worth checking out. Space Marine 2 throws you right into the action-packed world of Warhammer 40k, where you play as a towering space marine named Titus. You'll use powerful guns and brutal melee attacks to fight hordes of Tyranids, alien creatures that want to eat everything in their path. The action is intense and gory, with huge battles and epic boss fights that will test your skills. The game looks amazing with detailed environments and awesome special effects that really bring the Warhammer universe to life. You can even team up with friends to fight the Tyranid threat together in co-op mode. If you like action-packed games with big guns and even bigger enemies, then Space Marine 2 is definitely worth checking out. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl throws you into a harsh and unforgiving world where survival is key. Explore the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a place filled with dangerous mutants, deadly anomalies, and other stalkers all competing for survival. You'll need to scavenge for supplies, manage your resources, and make tough choices to stay alive in this unforgiving environment. The game features a massive open world with dynamic weather and day-night cycles that create a truly immersive experience. Uncover the secrets of the zone, complete dangerous missions, and encounter memorable characters as you explore this atmospheric and captivating world. This game is not for the faint of heart, but if you're looking for a challenging and rewarding survival experience, this game is a must-play. Stardew Valley is a farming game that's all about building the life you want, whether that means growing crops, making friends, or just spending your days fishing by the lake. The game lets you take things at your own pace, which makes it super relaxing, but there's always something new to discover. The townspeople all have unique stories, and you can even get married and start a family if you want. The early game can be a bit overwhelming since there's so much to do, but once you get into it, it's incredibly satisfying to watch your farm grow. It's one of those games that's easy to start, but really hard to put down. Stellar Blade is an action RPG set in a futuristic world, and it's all about fast-paced combat and exploring beautifully designed environments. The visuals are absolutely stunning, and the combat feels smooth and satisfying, especially with all the cool moves and combos you can pull off. I really enjoyed the boss fights, which were challenging but not unfair, and they kept me on my toes. However, the story felt a bit shallow, and I didn't connect much with the characters, which was a little disappointing. Still, if you love action games with great visuals and fluid combat, it's definitely worth checking out. It's one of those games that's just fun to play, even if the story isn't the strongest. Streets of Rage 4 is an action-packed beat-em-up that brings back the classic arcade brawler experience, but with a fresh, modern look. The combat is super smooth, and every hit feels strong, whether you're throwing punches, kicks, or pulling off insane combos. The hand-drawn art style is beautiful, and the soundtrack just keeps you hyped from start to finish. There are tons of unlockable characters and different game modes to keep things interesting. Some boss fights can feel a little unfair, and playing solo can get tough, but when you're playing with friends, the game is just non-stop fun. If you love classic arcade games, this is definitely one of the best beat-em-ups you can play today.
Let's get this over with.
Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG set in a beautiful fantasy world where you lead armies and make story choices that shape the world around you.
Be safe.
I loved the art style and the strategic combat that lets you experiment with different unit types. The story is engaging, and the characters are pretty memorable, which kept me invested in what would happen next. I did feel like the pacing was slow at times, but the rich story and strategic gameplay made up for it. It's definitely worth playing if you enjoy tactical games with deep storytelling. Unravel is a really charming game where you play as this tiny creature made of yarn named Yarny, and you use your yarn to swing across gaps and solve puzzles in a beautiful world that looks like it's made for a tiny person. It's like you're exploring a giant backyard, and the music is so relaxing and peaceful. It makes you feel like you're on a little adventure. You'll travel through forests and over mountains and even under the water, and the puzzles can be tricky, but they're always fun to figure out. And it's really cool how you use your yarn to tie things together and create bridges and swings and stuff. Unravel is a great game for people who like to relax and explore, and it has a really heartwarming story about love and family that will stay with you long after you finish playing.
Time to wake up, Nightingale.
Withering Rooms is a horror adventure game where you explore a creepy mansion filled with terrifying creatures and tricky puzzles. And what I found really interesting was how the game keeps changing its environment, making each area feel new and unsettling. And the sound design is really good at building tension. But the controls can be frustrating at times, especially when you're trying to get away from enemies. And the story is a bit hard to follow. But even with its flaws, the game does a great job at creating a spooky atmosphere. So if you love horror games, you might want to check this one out.